peer-to-peer Bitcoin exchange Paxful is suspending operations. In an online message, CEO Ray Youssef cited key staff departures and took note of regulatory challenges, especially in the US. Funds are safe according to the company, and the company has encouraged users to remove funds from the platform, either through self-custody or other trusted service providers such as BitNob or Nunes. And who better to join us to discuss the news other than Paxful co-founder and CEO Ray Youssef himself. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you so much, brother. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. So Paxful is shutting down its peer-to-peer Bitcoin marketplace just 2 months after local Bitcoins did the same thing. What can you share about the decision to shut down? U.S. regulation at the center, what's going on?
Well, as a founder, it's always sad to see your baby go. We've been building this for 8 years. It's been a tremendous journey. Paxful has been a very successful experiment. It's proven that Bitcoin can be useful for real use cases where people need it most, namely the global south, Africa, India, Latin America, etc. And it's done a great job of making sure Bitcoin is fertile in those areas, right? Thanks to the people. So regulatory challenges are huge in this business, as we've seen lately that even the most compliant exchange of all, Coinbase, has had tremendous challenges appeasing U.S. regulators, and it's no different in peer-to-peer. At Paxful, roughly 1/4 of our staff was compliance. We've been bending over backwards for the last 4 years to ensure that we are compliant, to set a good example for the entire industry. But the way things are going now, I don't see any real future for Bitcoin or crypto in the United States unless something drastic happens.
Right.
So at Paxful, we are an American company, and we have been reaching over the ocean to serve the global south. This has been troublesome from an operational point of view, but the worst part is that people in the global south have been subjected to American compliance. These people come from a vastly different financial culture, different practices, different problems, and to make them fit into that mold is not fair, and it causes a tremendous amount of pain to these people. We have spent millions on compliance, and it's still not enough to appease them. So we've done the right thing, and we've never endangered user funds, so suspension now makes sense. There's also another factor as well, in that there has been litigation at Paxful. My co-founder decided to sue the company and myself, and that's caused key staff to depart. Last Friday, we lost all of our chief-level staff, our operational staff, our engineers. He didn't want to pay our engineers, didn't want to pay our security people, didn't want to pay our compliance people. It would be irresponsible of me to keep an exchange up and risk user funds if I could not guarantee the security of the platform. So we have done the right thing, and I believe we are setting another good example. And as hard as this might be, you can see my face. I'm not crying about it. There's a bright future ahead for all of us right now.
Right. So Ray, you invoked Coinbase, which is a U.S. regulated exchange as well, but they tend to trade a lot of potentially unregistered securities, actual things that are deemed securities, but Paxful doesn't even trade anything anymore other than Bitcoin. Is that correct? How is Paxful getting caught up in that kind of regulatory web if they were only trading Bitcoin, which leans commodity versus security?
It's a great question. So this is a good chance for me to shed some light on all the vectors of compliance here. Unregulated securities mean that the SEC is going to come after you, and the Howey test and all of that, and that's just one vector. But there's an entirely different vector. For example, if you are allowing people to trade amongst themselves from all over the world, particularly in risky markets like Nigeria, India, and China, etc., every single transaction has to be run through a filter. Who is this person, right? You have to be KYC. Okay, great. We took care of that part. And KYC is a tremendous challenge here as well. Because how do you KYC someone that doesn't have an ID? American KYC providers cannot really read the IDs of someone in Nigeria. People there are lucky to even have a paper voter registration card that no one can read. That makes KYC tremendously challenging. I believe in identity. It's the foundation of business, as it should be. But there is no solution to properly identify people in the global south. But we've managed to work around that as best we could, despite excluding a tremendous portion of the population. But then there are other vectors as well, besides KYC. Every single transaction goes through a filter, and these filters might be deemed as suspicious according to American standards, but it's perfectly good, clean business. People in the global south often find very creative solutions for the problems that they have, which are manifold. remittances, payments, etc. A lot of these people get caught up in this web and their actions are deemed suspicious. And we have to suspend their funds. And we have to do a tremendous amount of paperwork, which costs millions, to unlock their funds. You don't know how painful it is for me as the CEO of a company that claims to want to help the Global South, and indeed I do, ending up having to lock up someone's funds for 6 months while it goes through the compliance gauntlet. It's not fair, it's not just, and it causes tremendous pain to the people. And this is the very real reality of how you do compliance on the ground. People tend to suffer, and if that compliance is an American compliance program that takes no heed or mind of these cultures and how they do business, it simply doesn't work. An American company can never truly serve the 100%.
Right. So, Ray, earlier you were doing a Twitter Spaces that I think a lot of Bitcoin Twitter and crypto Twitter was listening into, and you mentioned the importance of peer-to-peer marketplaces in lieu of centralized alternatives, and you touched a little bit on KYC, but can you touch upon what type of KYC would even happen in peer-to-peer marketplace, or is it, and I think you invoked this during your Twitter Spaces, a KYP, a Know Your Peer network?
Yes. So identity is the foundation of banking. If I'm going to sell some Bitcoin for someone and they're going to send some money to my bank account, I want to know who that guy is. So peers want to know who they're dealing with, let alone the central party, right? So in that case, people need to be able to identify each other. How do we identify them? We sign a deal with Jumio on Fido, whoever it is, and it might work or it might not. But what the world really needs right now is decentralized identity, meaning people should be in control of their own KYC credentials. And if peers want to identify each other, then they should have the right to do so. And I'm very proud to announce that soon, next week, there will be the drop of something huge, a new white paper, the promise of building 1,000 decentralized Paxfuls all over the world, and decentralized IDs will be a part of it. Decentralized IDs are absolutely required because it will open up a huge new avenue of change, meaning reputation. Paxful has a reputation system. This reputation system is seen as the kind of currency in the marketplace because it invokes trust. And once you have trust, you can have the foundation and genesis of true credit and lending, peer-to-peer credit lending, which will cause tremendous inflows of capital from the West to the Global South. This new project will be called the Civkit. It is essentially an extension of Bitcoin that allows anyone to start a peer-to-peer marketplace. It's completely and utterly decentralized. This is the promise of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin project is not complete until this thing hits. Satoshi Nakamoto, in the very first version of Bitcoin, he had all these eBay and marketplace functions, but he retired a bit too soon and couldn't finish the project. Well, we're going to.
Right. So Ray, once you see this transition through of getting everyone's funds off of Paxful and everything wound down, are you going to start working on this white paper, this decentralized exchange network, a network of networks? Is it Civkit? Is that what you're calling it?
Yes, because it's a kit for civilization. If you want to spin off your own civilization, 99.9% of governance is about money. And free trade will create wealth. Unstoppable free markets is the whole reason why we're here. The internet, mobile phones, Bitcoin are all getting us to this place. All the Global South needs is a way to transact freely with each other in a true free market, and tremendous wealth will be created. We are seeing a world right now where all the BRICS nations, Russia, India, China, Brazil, South Africa, Iran, all these countries are teaming together to break away from unipolar dollar hegemony. And they are building their own system. It's up to us now to bring this to the streets. And I will be helping any company out there as a free agent CEO who wants to build on this civilization kit. And I wish you all the best of luck. It's going to be a hell of a ride. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Who's working on the Civkit right now? Is it in conjunction with Bitcoiners on the ground? Is there some big Bitcoin company behind it, like Jack's Block or something like that?
We're working with quite a few bits and pieces there. Decentralized IDs, where architecture has been very kindly offered up by the people at Block. We're working closely with them. Nicholas Gregory is the guy. He's the CEO of Commerce Block. He's also on the founding team of No Ones. And he is leading this team of young super geniuses to bring together this Civkit. And we'll be bringing together technology from everywhere, including Nostr, Nostr is a kind of glorified RSS feed that has seen tremendous applications in social networking. There's a decentralized Twitter built on top of it. You can download the Damus client right now and see how it works. There's a very tremendous amount of Lightning inflows happening. Nostr is one of these technologies that allow anyone to set up a Nostr relay and have their own decentralized order book, kind of like Craigslist, and then using Lightning decentralized hash time lock contracts and discrete lock contracts, essentially smart contracts built up on Bitcoin. There can be an escrow where anyone can trade with anyone else through a non-custodial Bitcoin wallet. This is the foundation for truly unstoppable free markets, which is the reason why we're all here, whether we know it or not.
Right. It's interesting that Nostr seems to keep just popping up in the background to help disintermediate all sorts of these things. Ray, I could probably talk to you for a whole another hour, but that's unfortunately all the time we have today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Paxful co-founder and CEO Ray Youssef with us just there.